number system. This is a very important area asked in CAT and other MBA examinations. So in this video, I'm going to discuss with you types of numbers. Let's begin with natural numbers. We all know that natural numbers are also known as counting numbers. They are denoted as capital N. So example like numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4. They are all examples of natural numbers. We can classify them as even numbers or odd numbers. So even numbers are the ones which are divisible by 2. For example, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. Similarly, odd numbers are the ones which are not divisible by 2. For example, 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. Another type of number is whole numbers, denoted as capital W. Now, they are the ones which start with 0. So we have numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. They are all whole numbers. So they also contain numbers which are 1, 2, 3, 4, and we already have seen that they are natural numbers. So we can say that all natural numbers are subsets of whole numbers. Okay, next type of numbers are integers. So integers are denoted as I or Z. They include negative numbers also like -1, -2, -3, etc. up to negative infinity. So they include these numbers and also 0, 1, 2, 3 up to infinity. So we can say that natural numbers are subset of whole numbers which are a subset of integers I. Now, if we break it as like this, -1, -2, -3, etc., they are known as negative integers, denoted as I minus. Similarly, numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. are also known as positive integers, denoted as I plus. We already have seen in the previous slide that these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. are also known as natural numbers. So I can say that all positive integers are also called as natural numbers. Please remember this fact that 0 is neither negative nor positive. Now, besides integers, we have another type of numbers which are known as fractions. Fractions are either proper fractions or improper fractions. Now, what are proper fractions? Proper fractions are the ones where numerator is less than denominator. For example, you can see these examples 4 by 7, 13 by 25, and so on. Similarly, improper fractions are the ones where numerator is more than denominator. So obviously, reciprocal of proper fractions would then be improper fractions like this. We can write the improper fractions like 7 by 4, we can write as 1 plus 3 by 4 or 1 3 by 4. Now that means I'm able to convert improper fractions into this form, which is like 1 3 by 4. This form is known as mixed fraction. Now mixed fraction is a mixture of two types of numbers. As you can see, 1 3 by 4, I can say it is composed of 1 and 3 by 4, where 1 is integer, rather it's a positive integer, and 3 by 4 is a proper fraction. So that means I can convert improper fractions into a mixed fraction format, which is a combination of integers and proper fractions. If I see that fractions and integers, if I combine them, I'll get something known as rational numbers, which means rational numbers are of two types. Either they are integers or they are fractions. Rational numbers are denoted as capital Q. Based on what we have seen so far, we can say that natural numbers are subset of whole numbers, which are subset of integers, and now we can see integers are subset of rational numbers. So some more details about rational numbers. Now, rational numbers are numbers which can be expressed in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not 0. Obviously, denominator in any fraction cannot be 0. For example, 2 by 3, 12 by 5, and so on. In fact, all integers, as we have seen on the previous slide, all integers, whether positive or negative, including 0, are all, since they're integers, they're also rational numbers. Negative fractions are also rational numbers. So all types of fractions, all integers, they are all rational numbers. Rational numbers can also be classified into two types, terminating decimals and recurring decimals. Now, what are terminating decimals? These are those decimals where after decimal point we have finite number of digits. For example, like this, 2.567. So in this, we see that after decimal point we have only three digits, 5, 6, and 7. So we have finite number of digits. So these are the examples of terminating decimals. Similarly, what are recurring decimals? These are those decimals where after decimal point we have a digit or a group of digits repeating infinitely. Remember, repetition must happen infinitely. If repetition happens finitely, they will be categorized as terminating decimals. So we have many more examples of recurring. Like in this case, we have 0.343434, etc., etc. We have 0.25656. Now, in this example, we note that 2 is not repeating, but 56 as a cluster is repeating infinitely. So this can also happen. Or these example, another example, 26.474747, and so on. So these are the various examples of recurring decimals. Please note that 0.343434, which repeats infinitely, can be also written as 0.34 bar, and the bar is over those digits which are repeating. So in this case, since 34 as a cluster of a group of digits repeats infinitely, we put bar over 34. But in the second example, 0.2565656, 2 is not repeating. So bar will come only above 56. Likewise in the third example also, we have bar only over 47. Now 2.567, we can write it as 2567 divided by 1000. Please remember that terminating or recurring, both are types of rational numbers, and we have seen in the definition of rational numbers that they are the numbers which can be expressed in the form of p by q. It means we can convert terminating or recurring decimals into p by q form. And I think we all know how to convert terminating to p by q form. Like this case, 2.567, I can write as 2567 divided by 1000. Similarly, the second example. But how do we convert recurring decimals to p by q form? Let us see. Take an example. We want to convert 0.37 bar to p by q form. So how do we convert it? We have two methods here. One is traditional method and one is shortcut method or direct method. So we'll first discuss traditional method. In this method, we assume that the given expression, that is 0.37 bar, is x. Now, since the bar has under it 37, which is two digits, so we'll multiply both sides of the equation by 100, because 100 has two zeros. So we will get 100x is equal to 37.37 bar. Now, if we subtract these equations, we will get 100x minus x, and RHS will be this, which upon simplification gives me 37. Therefore, 99x is 37, and that means x is 37 upon 99. Now, this is what we have been taught in our school days. Now comes the shortcut method or direct method. In this, we don't have to take 0.37 bar as x or any such assumption. We straight away get the answer. So what is that method? Let us see. So 0.37 bar I want to convert to p by q form. So what I will do is I'll write 37, which means I'll not write decimal, I'll not write bar. Just write the number without decimal, without bar. That is 37. Now divide it by a number having as many nines as there are recurring digits. We see that 37 bar has two digits recurring, 3 and 7. So we will divide this 37 by two nines. I repeat, I'll divide 37 by a number having as many nines as there are repeating digits or recurring digits. So we'll divide by 99. Let's take one more example. Now we will convert 0.256 with the bar over only 56 to P by Q form. Traditional method says again take it as X and we proceed like this. So first job is to get rid of 2 because that is creating trouble. So we'll take 2 outside. How do we bring it outside? We multiply both sides by 10. So we get 10x is equal to 2.56 bar. The second equation I'll now multiply by 100 because now I'll apply the same formula as in the previous question traditional method that the recurring digits are 2 digits. So we'll multiply by 100. I'll get 1000x is equal to 256.56 bar. And then again same process, subtracting them, I'll get this equation, and upon solving I finally get x is equal to 254 upon 990. Now if I apply direct method or the shortcut method, how do I go about it? What I'll do is 0.256 bar. Notice it is composed of two constituents. One is 2, that is non-recurring component. Other is 56, which is the recurring component. So we have a bar over that. You see that? Now, first of all, write the number without decimal, without bar. So you get 256. From this, subtract the non-recurring constituent, non-recurring part, that is 2. So you get 256 minus 2 divided by a number. Now that number will be what? The first part of that denominator number will be the number having as many 9s as there are recurring digits. So in this question also we have 2 recurring digits, 56. So we'll put 2 9s. But this is not all about it. It will be followed by as many zeros as there are non-recurring digits. Now in this case, after decimal point, we have only one non-recurring digit. So we'll put only a single 0. And that's it. So my answer finally is 254 upon 990, same as we had got by the traditional method. Let's try some more examples to get more comfortable with this method. So this is our example, 0.23 and the bar over 758. So now I hope you know how to solve this. First step is write the number without decimal, without bar. So we write 23758. Subtract non-recurring constituents, 23. Divide by what? Recall that we were to divide by a number having as many 9s as there are recurring digits. So we have 3 recurring digits, so we'll write 3 9s. Followed by as many zeros as there are non-recurring digits. So we have 23, which has 2 non-recurring digits. That means 2 zeros. So my final answer is this. I hope by now this must be clear to you. Slightly more tricky question. 23.475 bar. Now bar is over 75. But what is so trickier here is that to the left side of decimal, we don't have 0. We have some non-zero numbers like 23 here. How do we convert such numbers to P by Q form? So what we do is we again write the number without decimal, without bar, and subtract 234 because 2, 3, 4, all of these are non-recurring. Divide by obviously 2 9s. I hope you know this now. So 2 9s. Now how many zeros? Some people feel the number of zeros will be 3 because there are 3 non-recurring digits. But please remember, you will put as many zeros which are after decimal point, the number of non-recurring digits after decimal point, that is to the right side of point. So we have only 4, that is a single digit. So we'll put single 0. And so my answer is this. Okay, this is what we have discussed so far. Now we'll see this, how to solve this question. Now this number is a fraction which contains 4 recurring decimal numbers. So we must and we have to apply the shortcut method, because if we apply traditional method, it will be too lengthy for all of us. So we will start doing it now. Please observe that in this we have 4 numbers, and in each of the 4 numbers, if we mentally think of what will be the denominator in each decimal number in the fractional form, like 0.123 bar is over 23. So denominator will be 990 if you convert to P by Q form. In fact, for each of the four numbers, denominator will be 990. Do you see that? So if you observe that, we can mentally cancel 990 everywhere and just write the relevant details. That means 123 minus 1. Now, actually, it should be upon 990, but we have already cancelled it mentally. So I'll write 123 minus 1 part only. And second part number will be 2342 minus 23 and likewise. So this is what we should write finally and simplify it, calculate it. So we get 2441 by 836. Okay. So if you were stuck up with the traditional method, now that is correct method, but that is too time consuming. In the CAT paper, we don't have so much time. So these are time saving techniques you all must remember. Now, moving on from rational numbers, we have another type of numbers known as irrational numbers. So they are the reverse of rational numbers. We have seen rational numbers are numbers which are either recurring or terminating. So irrational numbers are numbers which are neither recurring nor terminating. For example, now all numbers which are in the square root or cube root or nth root form, which cannot be simplified to a natural number or a rational number fraction form, they are all irrational numbers. For example, root 2, root 3, and so on. But root 4, I cannot say is irrational because root 4 can be simplified to the value of 2. And 2 is a natural number or rational number. So root 4 is not irrational. So root 2, root 3, we have more complicated numbers like these and so on. One more example, that is pi. Pi is also irrational number, although it doesn't contain any root format in it, but it is still an irrational number. Pi, we have all log numbers, log x, log 3, log 5, log 11. These are all also irrational numbers. Exponential numbers, e to the power 2, e to the power 3. E itself is an irrational number. All right. Now, many people confuse between pi and 22 by 7 because they feel that pi is 22 by 7, and since 22 by 7 is p by q form number, so by definition, that's a rational number. This is not true. Please note that pi is not equal to 22 by 7. Please see the value here. The value of pi is 3.14159 dot dot dot, but the value of 22 by 7, if you calculate exact value, you will get something like this, which is not completely matching with the value of pi. See, they are approximately equal, but they are not exactly equal. So if you go with mathematical exactness, pi is not equal to 22 by 7. In fact, 22 by 7 is a recurring decimal. It's a p by q form, so it's a rational number. And here we see it's a recurring decimal, so 3 point, then bar over 142857. This repeats infinitely. So this proves that pi is not equal to 22 by 7. However, I can say that pi is approximately equal to 22 by 7. So in some other areas like mensuration, where we have to find the value of volume and so on, so pi can be approximately taken as 22 by 7, but purely mathematically speaking, they are not equal. Now comes another type, which is most general type of numbers, real numbers. And you should know that real numbers are either rational numbers or irrational numbers. So we can categorize rational numbers, real numbers as either rational numbers or irrational numbers. Also notice that rational number cannot be irrational numbers and vice versa. Real numbers are denoted as capital R. And continuing like previously, we can see the subset system that rational numbers are subsets of real numbers. Now, we can, basis whatever we have discussed so far, all types of numbers we have covered, we can draw a number chart or number tree. So observe carefully, real numbers are of two types, rational, irrational. Rational are of two types, fractions, integers, that we have seen already. Integers, fractions are of two types, proper, improper. Integers are whole numbers or negative integers. Now, whole numbers are either natural numbers or zero. And natural numbers are either even numbers or odd numbers. So this gives you one full perspective in one snapshot. We are given here that X, Y, and Z are distinct and they are odd and positive numbers. So which of the following statements cannot be true? Please notice carefully, we want a statement which is not true. That means out of the 4 options, 1 option will be false, 3 will be true statements. So we have to check each statement one by one. I suggest don't take any specific value of X, Y, or Z. Do it logically without any specific value. So let's see, we are given that X, Y, Z are odd numbers. So keep in mind that X is odd, Y is odd, and Z is odd. So what are the properties of odd? So like odd into odd is odd. And likewise, so odd plus odd is even number. Odd minus odd is even number. And so on. So these properties will be helpful in this question. So checking the first option, X, Y, Z square. So it is a product of odd into odd into odd. So result will be obviously odd number. That means X, Y, Z square is an odd number. And that's what A option is saying already. That means A option is the statement in the A option is correct. But we want a statement which is not correct. So A is not the right option for this question. Got it? Okay, B. Now X minus Y, odd minus odd is even. And even into anything will be even, and that's what B statement says. So this is also not the correct answer of this question. Likewise, C. Now X plus Y minus Z square into X plus Y. So second part is X plus Y, which is even, and anything into even will be even, and that's what they have given. So that means C option is also a correct statement in it. That means this is also not the right choice for this question. We need not check for D, because if A, B, and C are not the choices, obviously D is the right choice for this question. So D statement will be a wrong statement. So it's the correct choice in this question. Got it? One last problem. Now this was actual CAT problem. So if you have read the question, we see that X is 0.ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. So it's a recurring decimal, which I can write as in the bar format. And we already know the shortcut of converting this to P by Q form. So we know it is ABCD upon 4 times 9. As many 9s as there are recurring digits. Now, this is multiplied by some number D. So X into D, it means I am doing this fraction number into D. So that result is a natural number. That's what the question says. If that is the case, then what is a possible value of D? Please notice the language of the question, which is a possible value of D. At this stage, I have seen a lot of students saying the answer of D will be 9999, which they don't see in the first 3 options. So they impulsively say D is the answer. But hold it. That is not the way. D need not be 9999. It is saying the possible value of D. So D could be 9999 or a multiple of 9999 also, because if D is that, the result is still a natural number. They have not said the smallest value of D. A possible value of D they are asking. So D will be a multiple of 4 times 9. And now if I see the options, 5 times 9, the first option is definitely not a multiple of 9999. It is not the answer. Now B option 9990, it is smaller than 4 times 9. So it is also not a multiple of 4 times 9. C option is tricky option, and we see after factorization that this number is 7 times of 9999, and so this is a multiple of 9999 and hence a possible value of D. That means the correct answer is C option. Tricky, isn't it? Because impulsively we are inclined to mark D option because we feel that D should be obviously 9999. We fail to see more deeply that it could have been a multiple of that as well. Thank you for watching this video. In case you have any query regarding this video, you can always approach me on the mentioned email ID. Alternatively, you can also send the comments in the comment box.